Hey everybody, welcome to class. Today we're going to learn about the very basics of the guitar. If you decided you wanted to learn the guitar and you had never picked it up before, these would be the very first things that you would have to know. In the previous videos that I filmed, I kind of just threw you guys into the deep end. I started using finger numbers, first, second, third, fourth, and telling you directions on the fretboard and frets and different string numbers. And I said, you'll just get it. And I was doing that on purpose because I knew that I was going to film this video. And so if you have some knowledge that you've gleaned from those first 3 videos, kudos on you. But this video should serve to fill in some gaps so you know everything that I'm talking about. Alright, so we'll take the lesson in 2 parts. The first part is going to be I'm going to tell you about the different parts of the guitar. All acoustic guitars are basically the same, so these parts will be able to transfer to the guitar you have and maybe the guitar you might have in the future. And so that's the first part. The second part is going to be navigating the neck, because that's where the majority, like 99% of your guitar playing is going to happen. So, without further ado, here we go. So you have the guitar here. Yes, right? So this part right here, this whole box, right? The whole conglomeration of parts that make up this thing is called the body, right? And it has parts, just like any body does. So the whole thing is the body. However, these curvy things on the sides, right here, that go all the way around, are their own pieces of wood, and they're called the sides. So this is the sides, right? These here, this right here. The part of the guitar that has the strings running over it, this part, this section of wood up here, is called the top. The bottom side is, well, called the back. And depending on the design of your guitar, it'll either be a complete piece, or it'll be chopped down the middle, or maybe it'll have a little dovetail here. Backs can be very different on guitars, and they can really affect the sound of the guitar that you have. So this is the back, the sides, the top. We have this part here, which is called the neck. And here's the back of the neck here. Right here we have the neck. And the neck has 2 parts. It has the main part below. As you can see, there's kind of a difference in shading of the wood. And then it has the part on top, which is called, this darker part, which is called the fretboard. And so you can see the fretboard here on this side, and then you can see the neck on this side. And you can usually tell by their different shading of wood. So this is lighter, I think it's mahogany, and then my neck seems to be rosewood. So after the neck, so you have body, neck of the guitar, then you have this part up here, which is called the headstock. And the headstock is where all the strings are finding their tension and the place where we can tune them. And the way that we tune them is with these things here. Depending on if you have a steel string guitar or this one is a classical, your tuners may look different, or machines, as some people call them. But either way, these little mechanisms here are going to be what tune your strings. And we'll also do tuning in another video. Note to self. So Again, you have the body, the neck, the headstock, and then the machines. Okay, so then there are a few details, right? So on the fretboard, which is the upper side, the top side of the neck, you have these little metal bars, right? And these are called fret bars. And what they do is they divide the frets so that you know where to place your fingers in order to get certain chords and certain scales and to be able to do different things with continuity and precision. So the way that you count the frets on a guitar is very specific, and it might be a little bit counterintuitive, but after you do it a couple times, it'll make sense to you every time. So we always count from the end of the neck near the headstock. So this fret here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on, all the way up to 20, 22, sometimes 24, depending on the guitar. Electric guitars have a lot more frets. But you're always going to be counting in what is called an upward direction. And the reason why it's called upward is because the notes are lower down here than up here. So if you have a low note and you travel up, you're gonna go higher. So low, high, low, right? So low to high. And it's the same with all the strings, they all go up. Right, and we're just hanging out on a little F note there, which is nice. And so it's always gonna go low to high. Okay, so a couple more details, right? So this little white thing here, what is this called? This is called the nut. And usually they're made out of bone or maybe a fancy kind of plastic. And what they do is they control what's called the action of the guitar. And the action is how close your strings are to the fretboard. The distance here between the strings and the fretboard. So that's the action, and a lot of that is controlled by this nut here and by this bridge. Actually, saddle is what this one is called. This white one here is called a saddle. And then this whole thing that the saddle is on, this thing here, is called the bridge. So the bridge is attached to the top. And one of the cool things here, a little note, is that whenever you hit a string on the guitar, it sends vibrations all the way from the strings to the saddle and to the bridge, and the bridge vibrates because it's attached to the top. It vibrates the whole top of the guitar. Okay, and so that's how we get sound, and the sound, it comes out of this circle here, which is called a sound hole. So those are the parts of the guitar. And I think I may actually have to do navigation in a different video. So stay tuned.